Well, I don't know about you, but I want to think more about putting away falsehood and anger and having helpful hands and a helpful mouth and putting away bitterness. And I'm sure that as we live like that, we'll be a good blessing to others. And I want to think more about following God's example of loving forgiveness and following Jesus in self-sacrificial love for the sake of others. Listen again to one of the key verses, Ephesians 5, verses 1 and 2. Follow God's example, therefore, dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and a sacrifice to God. You can always see on the lawn the places where the water doesn't hit. Everyone notices the brown, withered patches. But to put it another way, you can see the good the water does as it spreads out. The water gives its life and nourishment to the lawns and gardens, making it good and green. We hope that as you go out from church that we live differently and do good in the places that God sends us. Over the past few weeks in our studies, we've seen that the gospel keeps shaping the way we walk into church. We remember that we are forgiven. We remember to do our part in building others up. We remember that we are a display of the unity in the gospel. But in our study today, we've seen that the gospel shapes how we walk out of church too. Be who you are and live out the new life you have in Jesus. That's the ethic of the New Testament. And that's the way of life we live every time we leave church. And the things we've learned about Jesus, well, that will impact our lives too. And just as our sprinkler system pops up and waters the lawn around it, well, we do really want to be those who do good and spread that good out in our world. Next week, we're thinking about churches that plant other churches. And we're looking at one of my favourite little parts of Ephesians about walking in the light and helping others to walk in the light too. But that's for next week. Right now, it's off to prayer groups, and we will see you next week.